Radio check, radio check. Well, here we go along Davy Street in Reefton. Just check no one's coming this way, as well as a radio check. And behind that tree there is where my friend David Palmer used to live. He and Teddy, Margaret and Colin used to live there. I'll just say hello to this lady because I can't. I just caught up with Janine here. She's heading to work. Where you go? Down to Greymouth? Oh, good work. Okay, I'll see you next time I'm through. Janine's a district nurse there, heading away down to Greymouth for the day. This is my old haunt here at Reefton. This little house here on the left here was where we used to live when we were children. Anyway, let's get back to our story here. I'm going up here to Anangahua Junction, turn right through to Murchison, turn right at go to St Arnaud, turn right, go through the Rain Valley, go over the mountains and down to Hamner Springs, and then turn left and go down to Christchurch. So that's our day's work. Let's go and do it. I went through all my checks and I found that my tyres were just down a little bit. They got a bit of extra air. She's topped up with fuel. As I'm checking over my bike, no rail cars that way, no rail cars that way. As I'm checking over my bike, I spot that my headlight on the bike is broken. I must have received an oncoming stone. But I put a bit of RTV rubber over the top of the fracture, and that should get me back to Tauranga. I've ordered a new part online. Today we've got a couple of well, mountain stream crossings. I don't think they're rivers, and they haven't had much rain up here in the mountains over further towards Marlborough, so I'm hoping that's the case. I've got extra layers on underneath until I get to St Arnaud, and when I start working on the back road, that is standing up and concentrating much more, well then I will start taking the underlayers off of it. One lane bridge with a red light and a car on it, so we better get rid of this. This is called the Iron Bridge across the Buller River. And there's a sign there, if the red lights don't change you can proceed with caution, so I didn't run a red light that time. Now this is a beautiful bit of bush up through here, windy road, but I've got to be careful because there's a lot of freight coming in and out of the coast here from Nelson. So now we're getting into the upper Buller Gorge in earnest. Gold mining was very good here in the turn of the century, a place called Lyle. It's a scenic reserve, of course. And up here there's a walkway and cycleway that takes you through the mountains and pops you out up the coast from Westport at a place called Seddon. Here's the sign here, Lyle Historic Area, the Old Ghost Road, cycleway and walkway. So there's the information panels there for the information about the trail, but I'll go over here to the start of the trail. This was a historic gold mining area for a starter. They found gold here through there. There's huts dotted through along the track at various places, but that's where you start there. Whoa, Betsy. Off you go down that trail there, and it's been open now about 4 years or 5 years. My daughter went through with her bike and made a video of that, and I'll put a link to that in the comments below somehow. What a super ride it is through the upper Buller Gorge here on a motorbike. Not much traffic, no rain, early in the morning, just beautiful. And to think that back in 1968 A bloke from Reefton was riding through here. He'd started off a similar ride to me, only he was in a coal truck taking a load of coal from Reefton up to the hospitals at either Nelson or Blenheim. Lionel Donaldson was he set sail from Reefton there about, say, 4 AM and got to about here when the Anangahua earthquake struck. He didn't know what was happening all around him. He said the bush and the hills and everything started falling down around him. He panicked and left the truck running there, got out. He said the bush was trembling like a mob of cows was running through it. He just didn't know what the heck was happening. He could hear the hills all falling in around him, and he in turn thought that the world had come to an end as well. Up here, I'll be able to show you where the big slip left the other side of the mountain there and come hurtling down and blocked the Buller River for some period of time. Hello, that's a New Zealand weka there. Sometimes I can whistle them up. My point of stopping here was up on the skyline. I don't know whether you can see it, but that's the whole basin of the mountain there that came away, spewed into the next valley, and then come hurtling down in a torrential mudslide. So back to my truck driver Lionel Donaldson's story. He was trapped in here with slips either side of him. His truck could neither go forward nor back. And he had a homing instinct, and that was to go back the way he came. There were two other truck drivers from Westport in the same predicament, but these men didn't have tramping gear or anything like that on. They just had driving gear, some light boots and just ordinary clothing on to drive in a truck with a heater. But they determined to set sail. So I think there was 4 of them in all. They set sail to go back towards the Iron Bridge. Now the slips across the road, they come from on high on the left hand side here too, blocking the road, and they were still freshly falling with all new debris coming down. So it was always tricky getting across these slips as well, and the risk of rockfall was very high. Sometimes they would go high up and over the fracture and climb around like that, so progress was very slow getting out of here. So the earthquake happened about just before daylight, about say 5:30, and they walked all day out to the Iron Bridge that I filmed there coming over, about 25 kilometres. Now they heard the helicopters coming up to check this bloody landslide and things like that, but because they were in the bush, the helicopters didn't see them. And it was only towards evening that the helicopter spotted them at the Iron Bridge. They probably seen the trucks up here further and realised that the drivers had set sail and gone on down. So the 4 of them were rescued, 3 drivers to Westport and Lionel to Reefton. So Lionel said that he got a ride all the way down the Buller River in that big Iroquois helicopter, dropped off the drivers in Westport, and then back up through the Anangahua and picked up some more people there, and then took him home to Reefton as part of the evacuation process. As I'm coming through here, I'm really enjoying this ride this morning. I've cut the pace back a bit, only going through here just on 90-95, but it's just lovely. It's the roads are good, no traffic, and you got this lovely trimmed up road here all the way through the Buller Gorge. Super duper. See, they put a mower along the side that can reach up into the trees to keep the limbs from falling out over the big trucks and things like that. This is where Lionel was stuck here, right at the transition here of Ananga from the Westland district to the Tasman district. So he left his truck exactly on that spot there. It so happened that some people coming from the Murchison end here did extricate his truck back to Murchison and give him a call where his truck was left at Murchison here, and he came around and picked it up after and delivered his coal to Nelson, I presume. Another place here called Newton's Flat. Now this harks back to the stagecoaching era, where this would have been a overnight stay for the stagecoaches coming through. They'd come from Murchison through to here, so today overnight, and then on through the Buller Gorge. And it would be a lot slower in those days with horse-drawn coaches than it is on a BMW F700 GS. But, I remember going there as a kid. The shop was still open, and there was no real turnover. You could barely get an ice cream there. It was that old and dilapidated at the time. So that would be way back in the early 60s. I remember a pair of gumboots hanging from the ceiling there, but they'd been hanging there for about 30 bloody years, and the rubber had bowed all around the top where the string went through to hold them together. A lot of single bridges in New Zealand, and so we've got to watch this one here. This is Newton River Bridge. I can't look left or right because I've got to watch the road. So I just pulled up here at the Murchison Lime Works. This is part of there's the main road there, and on up there must be a seam of lime. So they fetch it all out through conveyor belts out to here onto trucks, and then down for fertiliser onto farms. But this is a big fault line that comes right through New Zealand, from north to south, from way down Haast right on up to Tauranga, where I live, really. That's the Buller River there. You can see how much the river can rise and fall. Recently there's been a flood in it, and that's 30 feet high there, coming through the gorge like so. There's a tourist operation here where they have jet skis and a big swing bridge across to the centre there. O'Sullivan's Bridge across the Buller River. I'll see if I can go slow. There's no one behind me. There's the Buller River again. If you look up there on the left, that's an old pylon for a bridge crossing when the old horse and drays were going. Way back down there. Can I get round? Geez, I'm getting stiff in the neck. Now you can go to your right to Springs Junction and back to Christchurch that way. We can go this way to Nelson and Picton, and we'll choose that route because in about, how many more kilometres have I got to go? 86 kilometres. I turn off this road to the right and head through the Rainbow Valley. Now I'm coming up to Owen Bridge here, and this marks a transition in the rainfall. Back where we've come through Murchison and the upper Buller Gorge there, high rainfall area, but slowly we're moving out to the rain shadow area of Nelson and Marlborough. This area gets less rain, and the vegetation changes now from that lush rainforest stuff to lightening up now altogether. When I get round these next few corners, we start getting into tussock and open mountain tops. They're way up in the sky. The clouds are breaking up, and we're looking forward to a fine day when we get round through here. This is Kawateri Downs here, one of the first farms on the Nelson side here. But this fella found an interesting way to get rid of his stones out of his paddocks. He used an old baler there, and he baled them up. You see them there all the way? There's the bales of rocks all the way through the back there. So that's a novel way of getting rid of your stones off your farm. See, the paddock's quite clear, this end here where he's done it. I think he doesn't feed them out to the cows after, but and you see this manuka tree here, these line of manuka? Well, that is the formed railway that was coming through here. That's as far as the railway project ever came from Nelson. So you see that's a steep embankment there. That's where the railway would have been on top of that there. And bridges and tunnels were all formed all the way through. In fact, they were making stations. So there was a big population of people following the construction of the railway right through here. But their hard work was ahead, punching a railway through that Buller Gorge. You could see how steep and precipitous and how many tunnels and bridges that they would have required to get a railway line through there. I'll show you a railway station up the sign of St Arnaud where I want to turn off, but this is called Kawateri Junction. And I'll give you a bit of a run round here. You can see the straight ahead there. We go that way there, but I'll just go here and show you what about this. Kawateri picnic area. Just round the corner there's a big tunnel through that bloody hill there. Railway tunnel, never used. Only jiggers went through there, not trains. But you can see the structure ahead. That was part of the railway line. You see, this is where the trains would have pulled up here, right where I am now. And that's all about the railway punching through the upper Buller Gorge. And there's probably rationale there why it stopped. But you can read that yourself when you come here. We're going through to St Arnaud and Picton. Not quite to Picton though. And that's an example of the bridges that they would put in. They're sort of prefabricated things. They're standard sort of bridges that they use. Whoops, Alvin. I don't know how well this camera will pick it up, but you might be able to see that the vegetation in the environment's changing. It's much more sparse vegetation that survives in drier environment. Now that up to straight ahead there's an exotic forest, but on the other side of the hill there you see the hills are more denuded, and yes, it may have had a fire on it and then they've tried to grow trees on it in the past. But you can see that it's not the big forests that are back on the west coast. Well, the environment has definitely changed now. We're cutting across towards the lakes there. Up above these hills here, straight ahead, is Lake Rotoiti, yes. Now dairying farms on these flats. In years gone by it was just cattle and sheep. But as the low country where the dairy farming were in the Wairau Valley has turned into grapes and things, the cows have come on up the valley here. Here's a mob of Jersey cows up in here. I see we're at an elevation now of 482 metres, which I've been gently climbing up there from Reefton there, up the Buller Gorge and up through Murchison and up to here, and as I get round the top here to Top House, that'll be my highest elevation for a while until I get over towards Hamner. But I'm very pleased to see that the creeks are not in any sort of flood. That indicates to me that there hasn't been a lot of rain over this way here in these hills. This is a big rain shadow, and I've been watching my weather forecast to make sure that things are right. This is an example of a creek, you see, over here. Dry as a wooden god. That's what we want. Hello, look at these. Here, let's have a quick look at these fellas. What do we got here? Steers, Herefords, beautiful line. What age would they be? Let's give them 2-year-olds, eh? Ah, beautiful, eh? Good morning, boys. They're all excited to see me. They think I've got hay on the back for them. Well, you're mistaken. Centre a light down the straight here. They do hang gliding here. There's a slingshot sort of hang gliding arrangement here where they hook your airplane to a pulley and woo, up the air you go. So this is the indicator marker buoy there for the wind strength, and so they come up here from Nelson and Blenheim to fly around these hills here in the thermals. He's rolled up his oats and things here and rammed it into bales in there. That can be handled individually with a tractor onto a machine and dispersed around the animals. Looks like they come along here with their 4-wheel drive concerns. I reckon these are the breeding cows. We'll have a look at them, eh? Let's look at their calves with them. So these would be the mothers of the ones back there, and if these calves here are about 7-8 months old, that'll be their bigger brothers down the way there. Good morning, girls. Beautiful big Hereford cows. They all do well in this high country stuff here. Look at that calf in the middle there. Beautiful. Now this is a mob of lambs. Here, all lambs. Let's see if this lot will stay close and let me in there. Romneys probably. All crutched up, looking good. That'd be August drop, I'd say, wouldn't it? Got here a mob of ewes. All shorn. They'll go through the winter. The ram's probably been in there and says, "Hello, ladies." So they'll be full of lamb now and looking good to go through the high country winter. Look at the fodder over this side here to help them through the winter too. That'll mainly cows will get that big stuff like that. I just caught out the corner of my eye. There's a farmer there. Good morning. Hang on, I'll turn my gear off. Oh, I just make up a video as I go. Can you hear me all right? Oh, that's good.
Hey, where are you from?
Oh, down at Tauranga, really.
Oh, yeah.
So I ride round making up a story and things. Yeah. I'm heading through Rainbow down to Hamner and then down to Christchurch today. Yeah.
Where did you come from?
Reefton now.
Okay.
I've been down through Molesworth, Hamner and then round to Reefton like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And retired and just out enjoying myself. Hey?
Yeah, we're not quite high country.
No?
We're not tussock.
Yeah.
But, we're hill country.
Hill country rather than high country, yeah?
If you're in Lake Whakatipu is 300 metres above sea level.
Yes.
And that's all considered high country.
Right.
But we're 600 metres above sea level.
Yeah, I just see that now, up 600 metres here.
Yeah, but we're not considered high country.
No.
But we get water, you see, we get rain. That's the St Helena Range in front of you here.
Yes.
And that's the remnant, or the last of the Southern Alps. It's not actually considered the Southern Alps, but it's the running out of the Southern Alps.
Yes.
So we're still west coast here.
Yeah. And they call that an inland island, don't they?
Oh, Mainland Island.
Yes. Yes, because they can isolate the bloody predators off there if they can, you know?
Oh, yeah. They haven't isolated them, they're just killing them there.
Yeah. Well, they've got a better chance of keeping other stuff from there because they've got the lake on one side and Kaikoura are the big, hills on there, you know?
Oh, yeah, it only goes to the top of this range here.
Yeah.
But they're going hard out, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
But because they've got traps everywhere now. They've got traps all through here as well.
Yeah.
But not to the same extent as the mainland island.
So I was just saying about those lambs there. They go off here and go to the work as soon as they're good. They're looking good, won't they? These ones down here?
Oh, they're actually two, they are.
Mm.
The lambs are here.
Oh, yes. So tell me about your dogs.
Oh, the dog.
Hunterways there?
Yeah, Hunterway's the heading dog.
Yes.
And the yellow one's a Hunterway too.
She a Hunterway. So Hunterway would gallop up around those hills there. You could stay here and fetch them down, couldn't you?
Oh, if they're any good, they would.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not too bad.
Yes. And the little one on top, up high, what's she? What?
Well, he's a heading dog too.
Yeah.
So historically, the heading dogs don't bark and the Hunterways bark.
Yes.
And typically the heading dogs will go and bring them back towards you.
Yes.
And the Hunterways will push them away from you. But that's very, very crude. So have you been in the movies, or what's been your career?
I'm a mental health nurse.
All right.
Psychiatric.
You're right.
Silly as they come.
Well, I'm at St Arnaud now. That's not far from my turn off to the Rainbow Forest. But they've got a classic boat gathering here at the present time, and they're all just streaming home after the weekend. But I just want to show you something out here at the edge of the lake. This is Lake Rotowiti, one of the high country lakes here. Runs away back up the top of the mountain there. People boating here and fishing. But what I want to show you is right here at this jetty. So I'll get off the bike. Wonder if I can get a cup of tea out of those people there. They've got a camper van. What I need is a bit of bread here, and we just come over here by throwing this in here like that. They come from miles around. Generally, this lake is festooned with eels. Yeah, no, there's generally thousands of the things here. Oh, here they are, they're coming now.
Trout here too?
Yeah. But these eels, they come in thousands. I better not fall in here. Sometimes that whole area is just teeming with bloody eels, you know. She's an eel soup. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show you.
But what a nifty little boat, hey? That's well named, isn't it? Electric engine on the back. Yeah.
Put it on the back with its own battery.
Marvellous. And you can manage it with the camper van.
Yes.
I forget your name?
Dave.
Dave.
Yep.
And?
Jane.
Good on you, Gene and Dave, yeah.
Can go for 10 hours at
Yeah.
trolling speed.
Wow.
Battery that takes us right around the lake
Yes.
on a nice day.
Beautiful. See, I've got a jet ski and you're not allowed on here with a jet ski. Hey? But you're okay with electric motor?
We are.
They must think I'm a polluting person.
So we're coming up here for the turn off now to the Rainbow ski field, but this is the Rainbow Valley turn off. That's what we're after. No one coming here. Bit of loose gravel there, be careful. The ski field's closed. Well, there's not much snow and ice around at the present time, so we won't worry about that. So the big valley there runs on down to the Blenheim and on to Picton, and that is called the Wairau Valley. But this one here that I've just turned into is called the Rainbow Valley, and we're going to follow that up there for say 50-60 k's up to the point of the top, and then move over a pass and down in towards the Clarence River, and the Clarence River then dribbles out somewhere over towards Kaikoura, I think. And we then turn right again and go into Hamner. So that's our venture for the next couple of hours. Because I'm riding on my own, I may pick up with somebody in here, but it's unlikely. I need to go steady because I don't want to go arse up. Stop. You must read this before entering the Rainbow Station. It's $40 to go through here, 20 on motorbikes, $5 on bike, and if you want to walk, it's free. Now I've had to fill out a form that you get from their website stating that I know all the hazards ahead of me and that the road can be closed at any time, and that I'm responsible for my own actions and leave things as I find them. That's opening, shutting gates, not to light any fires. What was the other thing? And that they're not responsible for anything. So that's all right with me. I've got the form in my pocket here and a $20 note to give to them. And I don't mind, because that's a fair and equitable price for it to contribute to a farmer fixing and keeping and maintaining a road through the high country here. Now what I'm seeing on the left hand side is a whole lot of stoat boxes and they're traps for catching predators. Now that's what I understand about this bit of area here, this hills, is that here's a bit of a washout here somehow. Because it's an inland island, they're able to hoe into the predators like stoats and weasels and possums and things like that, and have a half a chance of slowing them down. It's unlikely that they'll be able to eradicate them, but at least they'll be able to keep them in check. So I've already seen 4 or 5 stoat traps on the left hand side as I'm coming up here, and when I see one again I'll pull up and show you it. It's 10 AM in the morning and she's crystal clear up ahead, no rain whatsoever. I've got a couple of layers on underneath there. Whoa, 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 slow her down here, birdie. She's crystal clear up ahead. There's no rain for the next couple of hours, which is great. And where'd I get up to with my story about my clothes? I've got a big woolen jersey on, and as soon as that sun gets onto me full time, that can come off, but I'll do that when we have a wee break and a sandwich and a drinky poo. So there's multi-fords here so far, and my concern is that it's slippery. Not that it's deep, but that was nothing to be worried about, isn't it? My GPS is there, is yelling at me, make a U-turn when possible. Well, that's because I haven't set it to go to the other end. It's not because of its anxiety about going up a backcountry road. Here's the first mob of sheep here. I'll just sneak along quietly so we get a look at them. And I can already see they're a Perrindale type, you know, very clean legs, very clean head, bright looking things, easy to use. Look at that, A-grade animals. So this road on the right here carries on up that valley there to a ski field called Rainbow Ski Field. Never been there, but it must be out round that corner there. Not open this time of the year. So we continue on up here, up this road. I'll just go through here gently. It's as slippery as all hell, but that's that river there up to the Rainbow Ski Field there. And the rivers are nowhere near in flood or anything, so we'll just sneak through here nice. Come on Betsy, you can do it. A little bit softer underneath. Well, this is the toll booth here. I'm gonna pop my visor so I can talk to Norma. So you say you're selling the manuka and you're taking the tolls here?
We're taking the tolls for the gate to get through to Hamner Spring or Millsworth. You can turn off to Millsworth.
Yes.
And we've got all different sorts of honey. We've got these from the Rainbow.
And Tom, you're here too. You're here for 2 weeks.
We're here for 2 weeks looking after the place and taking the money from the tolls and the honey and
Lovely.
and chatting to people. So yeah, it will be an experience, especially with there's no cell phone reception or anything. So it'll be a bit different.
So how many people on average would you get to come through?
Sometimes 10, 15 or 20 cars a day and motorbikes and sometimes you might only get 5. It depends on the weather, of course. Yeah. So they say there could be, on a real busy day, Jonathan was just telling me there was 100 came through. Yes. So it all depends, you know, what's happening.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, hey? I'll see you on the other side.
Good boy.
Crossing here called Connors Creek. Shouldn't be too hard, but I thought I'd just stop here and make sure my camera's right. Just got to make sure she's not slippery. Keep your eye on the objective and through we go. So we head on up that valley there, and what my camera is telling me is that my SD card in the GoPro is low. Bit of a detour around a washout or something, but this bike caters for that. I just let my foot pegs do the steering in general, and I have no real pressure on the handlebars at all. Just let them chatter away underneath there. First gear, just let her walk down here. We've got a tramping party here, all heading through. Here's the Nelson College boys. Say your name as I come past.
Dylan.
Hey?
Dylan, Mac.
Dylan?
Ron. Louis. Blake. Nick. Kia.
Good on you. Have a good day, boys. Hey! I was entertaining myself catching up with the boys here from Nelson College. You got a big walk ahead of you.
Yeah.
Good fun, eh?
Fuck, that's close. Fuck. So we're getting to the top of the valley here now. All those boys there were from Nelson College. They're up here for a tramp right through, camping as they go. There's another couple of there. Beautiful crystal clear water there. But sure as eggs, I look to the right for scenery, and whammo, I'm into a bloody pothole. But being up on the pegs, you see, you can just let the bike roll where it wants to, and take some of the sting out of the bump with your legs. So I'll go back to first to get up this bony bit here and give it a sort of pick your line by looking away ahead, and head for that and hope for the best. There's no sense in looking where you're just going to hit, because it's too late. You've done it. There's a tight little gorge. Beautiful. I'm critically low on data storage on the front camera, but I've got a full 32 gigabytes on the back, and I'll need to stop and have a cup of tea and change that over. But I've just got to watch out, because if those motorbikes are coming through from the other side, there might start to be some cars too. Let's see if I can capture this view here. Well, I'm back on the Molesworth station. This sets out where we are here. On the map we're here, this being Molesworth station, and I've come through here all the way up through here, right away down. The ski area there, and the old Rainbow Homestead gate there where I paid the tolls. So we rode up that valley there. Beautiful. It says here the Rainbow Station is a leasehold land and is accessed with the consent of the station owner between the 28th of December and the 1st of April each year. That's fabulous. That's the same sign as at the other end, saying that I have to pay 20 bucks. But that was fabulous to ride through there and away down that valley there. We snaked around that and then back around there and way down through to that white cloud. That's where we were. Just gorgeous up here today. And I see these cattle over here under the pylons there are big Aberdeen Angus belonging to Molesworth. So my plan is now to have a bit of food and a wee rest, and get my electronics right for the next part of the trip. So we're nearly at the top of this valley, and there's a lake up here that we need to stop and organise the electronics and have a bite to eat, eh? So that's what we'll do. Big shingle scree up here ahead. There must be a lot of cows here, because the tucker seems to be eaten out.
an area just back there where they've put out a salt lick or mineral supplements. But that's a spectacular slide. Now, if you had skis on and there was some white snow on that, wouldn't that be good for doing your slalom? I used to be able to do that before I had gammy knees. I see a motorbike coming behind me too, so they'll be right behind me. I better watch out for them. They're cutting the changing lanes and things. But the road conditions have improved 50% since I come onto the Molesworth station. They must have a grader driver that knows his stuff. Now here are these big Aberdeen Angus cows here. I'll see what they got to say. You got a lovely calf there, madam. Only a young cow herself, she's not old. Probably her first calf. There's these motorbikelists. Woo! They're two up. That'll be handy for opening gates and things, wouldn't it? I didn't get a look how big their bike was. Let's stop this other bloke and see where he's going. Well, that's a bloody good story, wasn't it? Just a wave and carry on. They're not used to communicating with bloody people with GoPros. Never mind. Steady, Alvin, steady. Because I've got a bit of extra time, we'll go over here. This one's called Island Gully Hut. Now, I may regret this, but we'll just see. Look for the line. There it is there. Take that! Yes, she did it! The risk is slime, you see. Slime and 45-degree angle rocks. Whammo! Down you go. And it doesn't take long. It's only a split second before you go from vertical to horizontal. Here's a little hut here. It's probably locked too, but we'll go and see. The bike is already dirty, so it doesn't matter if I run through puddles. Island Gully Hut. Well, let's saddle her up because we've got a bit more to do. How far have we been so far? 215 kilometres from Linders to here. And we've been in the saddle 5 hours 33 minutes. Well, that's alright, isn't it? I don't know how far Hamner is from here. Island Gully Hut. Maybe that's the Island Gully there. We'll call that's what it is. Now we've got to line this bloody crossing up here dead right. Even though it's not deep, we have a look where we're going to go. I think we'll go that way and then that way. Let's see whether that works. Oh shit.
Should check you're in bloody number 1 too. Well, you wouldn't know that that hut was there because it's just over the ridge. Beautiful mob of they're crossbred, some of them, you know, with a big white face. They're not pure Angus. And hello, we've got a gate here to open and shut. Hinges to the left, so we'll pull the bike back this way a bit, and the gate comes this way. Please leave shut. Alright, well, we will. See that gravel scree there? I reckon this bike would go up there. So I think if I weren't someone who'd obeyed the rules, I'd give that a go. She'd go straight up there, I'm sure. Get a grip and go. Shit, look at the backs where other people have had tried there. I won't do it this time, but next time I come through, I'll take her up there. Just got to watch for other cars coming the other way, although no one should be doing more than 50 kilometres an hour. Because that's the upper limit in the back roads here. Another lovely flat there, but the cows must be fenced off this one. They're told to eat the harder, high up stuff first. You can see we're going right up over that saddle there. That's where we're going, because that's where the power lines go, and this road's following the transmission line. So we'll just let her walk to the top of the hill here, no trouble at all. I'm in number 2 and I've got beggar all revs. 3,000 revs on, and she just loves it. Any more and she becomes lively, any less and she bogs down, so we just go careful. A bit of a toe start going on here with these boys from Nelson. The battery in the back one is gone flat. You got him. See ya. Go for it, boys. Give a hell. You got 4 wheels, I've only got 2. I'm best not to compete because sure as eggs I will hit a rock and pitch into the scrub, so we'll let them go, and I may catch them at the lake where I'm going to stop for my second cup of tea and eat me bun. Beautiful cows. What about these ones? Serpentine Creek, hey, 2 of them. Oh, look at that big skid there. He's come off there in a hurry, hasn't he? It's definitely easier to stand up. She just runs down there easy at this speed. It's those embedded rocks in the road that give your steering a bit of a flick. There's 2 things that I can show you in this panorama. You can see where the farmer's been putting out supplementary chemicals there for the cows. They all come to that spot. And if you look in that creek there, you see there's Canadian geese there. Some out on the bank there and some in the river itself, just feeding there. There's one flapping its wings. Could you see that one? They're all right through the high country now. Years ago they weren't about at all, but they're getting prevalent in the high. Over there, that water there, we would call that a T-A-R-N, a tarn. Somewhere up here there's a big lake called Lake Tennyson. That's what I'm hoping to find.
Well, I turned off a little side road, 1.5k to Lake Tennyson. Well, here she blows. This is a typical high country lake here. So let's go here and have a bun. Here's a bit of interpretation of what the boys were doing. These are rabbits. They were a pest in the high country here. A couple of trout hanging up there. We've got shotguns. And hanging up high there's more trout. Prolific. And these are the rabbit skins here. Here's an old fellow with all the rabbit traps and things. See the hook pack horse there with all the traps on. And there's probably a hut there about like that. A primitive hut like that. But there's the skins hanging out. Thousands of them, eh? And that would have been their jobs, contractors. Rabbit netting. My God, that must have been a pest, mustn't it? And there we go. The rabbits spread south. So you are here, and then we just got to come back through here. That's Hamner Springs there. So we've only got that distance to go, and that is 10, 20, maybe 25 k's. Let's do it. As soon as I said that, I see a mob of cows out here, but you see there's a fence line running through there. At this side on the hills the cows are fenced off, and I bet on the other side there those hills too, which look more flush with growth, have not got sheep in particular and cows on there. They're all just in the bottom of the creek here. This being the St. James Conservative. Can you see how that grass and that all those plants there are looking much healthier? There haven't been a cattle hoof on there in years. There's a boundary gate you've got to keep closed. Yep, away. Fowler's Pass track, and I can see it snaking up through there. So somebody's left their car and gone for a gallop up there this morning. Let's have a look at this little hut. Who's that bloke? Anyway, let's have a look in here. Well, very basic. Bit of fireplace here where you can boil a billy, hung over a rail. You hang your pots on the hook there. It's no doubt lined in the back here. This is lined, there'd be stuff in behind that, and lined in the ceiling to keep it better in the winter. You wouldn't say you'd keep it warm. I just forget the name of that timber, but it's called rusticated, I think. Rusticated boards. The birds like it in here. Looks like something's happened there to let them in too. And then they used to put newspaper on it just as to seal the cracks in the creeks there. Just flour and water and newspapers, and slam that all over the wall as additional insulation.
But anyway, this is better than laying out there in the snow and ice, isn't it? But how much better, I'm not too sure. But anyway, if you broke down and you wanted to be here, it's better than being out there. So we just leave it as we found. A bit of firewood there, but I didn't see an axe anywhere. And see, that's the old corrugated iron too, you know, the real tough stuff. The ripples are smaller and tighter as opposed to this more modern stuff. You see the ripples are bigger, but up there they're smaller and tighter, so that's original stuff way back, you know. And on that angle nothing stays on it, and it keeps for a long time. So I'd just say that that was the original roof on the tin on the roof, get that right, and this is replacement stuff here to make it watertight. And that's a typical box on the outside there that either they're made of stone or that, but this one here is flat sheet steel. I was thinking I haven't seen any rabbits at all, but there's evidence of them. This is rabbit shit here, you see, and that's what they do. They scratch holes like so. There's another one here, and now see this, it's infested with rabbit shit everywhere, so they're here all right. And this is horse shit, I think, rather than cow shit. So when they're mustering, they must bring the animals, the horses here, and let them go in this little paddock and camp in the hut. See, and as I pull ahead, that's a horse paddock there if you're camping in that hut. See the horse doings there. Hey! Fuck, that's close.